Let's run through some practice examples multiplying binomials. For each one of these, we are going to use our double distributing method or box method or grid method, whichever one you prefer. I'll start off by showing you both. So for the first one, to double distribute, I'm going to distribute my x twice to both the x to get a product of x times x, which is x squared, and again to the minus 7, which is a product of x times a negative 7, or minus 7x. Next, I can distribute my 3 to the x for a product of 3x, and then finally distribute the 3 to the minus 7 for a product of 3 times a negative 7, which is minus 21. To finish this up, I'm going to look to combine my like terms. And so my final answer is x squared minus 4x minus 21. Now to show you how to do this with the grid as well, draw your tic-tac-toe board and then input your values. X plus 3, x minus 7. And go ahead and just do the products and multiplications here. So I'm saying x times x is an x squared. X times a negative 7 is minus 7x. Move on to the 3's now. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Combine your like terms along the diagonal. So I get a 3x minus 7x is a negative 4x. I can then rewrite my solution at the bottom in standard form as x squared minus 4x minus 21. Let's try number 2. For number 2, I'm going to do this one using my double distribute method. So I'm going to distribute the 2x to the x and get a 2x squared. Next, I'll distribute my 2x to the 3 and get plus 6x. On to the 1, I can distribute my 1 to the x to get plus x, and distribute my 1 to my 3 to get plus 3. Look to combine your like terms and write your answer always in standard form with the highest exponent first. So we get 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. Example number 3, I'll do in a box grid for those of you using that method. So I'll start off with my tic-tac-toe board, and I'll just fill it in with what I was given. X minus 3, 4x minus 5. And again, my operation here is multiplication. So I'm going to take first multiply my x through everything. So I'm saying x times 4x gives me a 4x squared. Next, I multiply my x by a negative 5 to get minus 5x. On to my minus 3. I'll say negative 3 times a 4x equals a negative 12x. And lastly, a negative 3 times a negative 5, watch your signs, is a positive 15. From here, I can combine my like terms along my diagonal. So I have a negative 12x minus 5x is equal to a negative 17x. If I write my answer in standard form, my final solution is 4x squared minus 17x plus 15. For example number 4, I'll do this using my double distribute method. So I'm going to distribute my 3x to my x to get a 3x squared. Next, when I distribute my 3x to my 4, those multiply to get plus 12x. Now I'm looking to distribute my positive 1. So I get 1 going to my x is going to be plus x, and 1 to my 4 is going to be plus 4. From here, I can look to combine my like terms of a 12x and a positive x. So I get a final solution of 3x squared plus 13x plus 4 as my final product. In my fifth example, I'll go back to my grid and just fill everything right in with my two binomials. So I have a 5x minus 3 and a 5x plus 1. The operation is multiplication. So to start, I say 5x times 5x. 5 times 5 is 25. X times x is x squared. Next, I'll multiply my 5x times a positive 1. When I multiply that product, I get 5x. On to my negative 3. When I multiply my negative 3 to my 5x, I get a negative 15x. And then when I multiply negative 3 times a positive 1, I get a negative 3. Watch your signs when you're doing that multiplication with the negative 3. Sign errors always pop up here. From here, I can combine along my diagonal for my like terms. And I have a negative 15x plus 5x is a negative 10x. So when I rewrite my solution in standard form, I get 25x squared minus 10x minus 3. For my last example, I'll do this one using double distributing. So I'll distribute my 3x through to my x. That gives me a product of 3x squared. I can then distribute my 3x to my positive 2 to get a product of plus 6x. And now I'm going to look to my negative 4. Watch your signs with this one. A negative 4 times an x is going to be minus 4x. And distribute the negative 4 to the positive 2. And negative 4 times a positive 2 is minus 8. From here, I can look to combine my like terms. And when I do that, in standard form, my answer is 3x squared plus 2x minus 8.